The unthinkable actually happened. Lord Krishna and Arjuna fought each other. And they even unleashed their greatest weapons on each other. It was a regular day in that age, eons back, when gods, divine beings, sages, and celestial beings all coexisted with mortals, people like us. At that time, there was a greatly revered sage by the name of Galav Muni, who was well known for his intense penance. And on that day, he was meditating near the sacred river Yamuna. And as it did happen, at that same time, a very talented and very well-known Gandharva, who is a celestial musician by the name of Chitrasena, was traversing over the skies, right about there. Now, among the Gandharvas, since they are celestial musicians and they are celebrating all the time, it was common for them to, be carefree. They had a carefree nature. They sang, they reveled in the beauty of the cosmos. And in his carefree way of living and enjoying himself, Chitrasena became negligent for a moment. And what he did was he spat from the heavens. And unfortunately, the wind carried his saliva and it fell into the hands of sage Galav, who had actually cupped his hands in devotion. When this happened, Galav Muni felt deeply insulted. It was unbearable for him. He had formidable spiritual power and he was seriously enraged by this. He immediately considered cursing Chitrasena to destruction. But he paused because he realized that unleashing this wrath might disturb his own hard-earned penance. So instead he decided to seek justice from that one holy being who always upheld righteousness, Lord Krishna. So Galav Muni travelled to Dwarka, where Lord Krishna was there, and he was burning with anger and insult. And he went to Lord Krishna and he narrated the entire incident to him. And Lord Krishna, who was always devoted to the cause of Brahmins and sages, did not hesitate even for a moment. And he said, "A Brahmin's honor is my honor. Within 24 hours, Chitrasena shall be slain." He declared it. And to further cement this oath of his, Krishna took a solemn vow in the name of his mother Devaki and also the feet of sage Galav. And that was an oath that was unbreakable. And this decision of Lord Krishna set into motion a chain of events that would actually challenge even Krishna's own divine wisdom. The news of Krishna's oath quickly spread through all the divine realms. And Narada, the celestial sage who was mischievous and ever curious, he heard about it, and in this news he felt that there was an opportunity for a divine spectacle. With his veena, the lute in hand, and his signature smile, Narada descended to Dwarka. He found Lord Krishna seated in deep contemplation. And Narada had a very sharp intuition. He picked up that something was off. So he went to Lord Krishna and he said, "O Lord, whose presence dissolves sorrow, why does your lotus face appear burdened today?" Narada acted like as if he had no idea what was going on. He feigned ignorance and innocence. Krishna smiled. He already knew Narada's ploy. But even though he knew everything, Lord Krishna revealed the cause of his concern. He told Narada that he had vowed to kill Chitrasena within 24 hours. And he was contemplating because he knew that the situation was not as simple as it seemed. Narada saw that there was great opportunity for divine play here. So he immediately departed for Chitrasena's home, his abode. And Chitrasena was completely unaware of his impending doom. When Narada arrived, the Gandharva, who was always eager to entertain divine guests, welcomed Narada and respectfully asked him about his well-being. But Narada was so sharp and so mischievous, gave him a very cryptic answer. He said, "Why do you concern yourself with such trivial pleasantries? Your death is already decreed. Krishna himself has vowed to kill you within 24 hours. As soon as Chitrasena heard this, his face paled. He was terrified. He clutched his heart and he said, "Krishna, the wielder of the Sudarshan Chakra, the very incarnation of Vishnu. There is no greater adversary in the entire universe. What do I do?" He panicked and he ran here and there. He sought refuge in the homes and abodes, celestial abodes of Lord Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Yama, and Varuna, and pleaded for their protection. But each deity, bound by cosmic law, refused that they could not help him. "Who dares to stand against Krishna?" Indra said. "To oppose Krishna is to oppose dharma itself." Lord Shiva said that. Even Yama, the god of death, denied him sanctuary, stating, "If Krishna has willed your end, even I cannot alter fate." With nowhere left to turn, Chitrasena came and fell at Narada's feet, pleading for some help, for some solution. Narada, though he was mischievous, there was a lot of compassion in him, and quickly he devised a plan. "There is but one hope for you, Chitrasena. Go to the banks of the Yamuna at midnight. There a woman will arrive for a sacred ritual. Cry out in distress, and she will save you." Chitrasena, desperate, didn't know what to do. He immediately obeyed. So he went off to the banks of the river Yamuna. At the same time, Narada traveled to Indraprastha, where Subhadra, Krishna's own sister, and also Subhadra is Arjuna's wife, she lived there. He approached Subhadra with a very well thought out plan. He said to Subhadra, "Hey Subhadra, a great opportunity for divine merit awaits you. If you bathe in the Yamuna at midnight and save a suffering soul, you will gain immeasurable virtue." Subhadra, ever eager for spiritual merit, immediately agreed. She went to the river Yamuna at midnight and she performed her sacred ablutions, and just then she heard a wailing from the riverbank. And she followed the sound and found Chitrasena, who was weeping bitterly, but he was not ready to tell her what was wrong. But after a while, she vowed to protect him, and once she gave her word, Chitrasena told her that it was Krishna himself who sought his life. Subhadra was shocked and she was torn. Her own brother had taken a vow to kill the man she had just sworn to protect. Subhadra returned to Indraprastha, quite distressed, quite worried. She told her husband Arjuna everything, the entire incident. And Arjuna then, he had to do something. He was faced by a grave moral dilemma. Krishna was his beloved friend, his divine guide. But as a Kshatriya, honor and duty dictated that he uphold his wife's promise. Even more so, he was feeling bad because Chitrasena had once been his own ally. But with unwavering resolve, Arjuna declared, "Krishna may be the supreme lord, but I am bound by dharma. If he comes for Chitrasena, he must face me in battle." And Narada, seeing all this and seeing how the whole divine drama had unfolded, he returned to Dwarka and told Krishna, Lord Krishna, that Arjuna had vowed to protect Chitrasena. Krishna then gave a big sigh. But he understood the whole divine play that had unfolded. Yet he remained firm in his promise. And thus, a huge and amazing and unthinkable war was set into motion. And now we see in the war, in the battlefield, the Yadava army and the Pandava forces are assembled. They are preparing for battle. The battlefield suddenly erupted with a clash of divine weapons. Krishna and Arjuna, bound by the oaths, faced each other for the first time as adversaries. It was terrible to behold. As the battle between Krishna and Arjuna raged on, the battlefield became a place of immense destruction. Warriors from both the Yadava and Pandava armies clashed fiercely, and they were so worried about what would happen. There was no peaceful resolution in sight. But the real devastation had not yet started. Both Krishna and Arjuna, bound by their unbreakable vows, were preparing to unleash their most powerful weapons. Weapons so devastating that they could destroy the world itself. Krishna wielded the Sudarshan Chakra, his divine discus, which was capable of annihilating anything in its path, cutting through time and space itself. Arjuna invoked the Pashupatastra, a celestial weapon that was given to him by Lord Shiva himself. The Pashupatastra was said to be capable of destroying entire universes when it was unleashed. As both warriors stood in their divine chariots, ready to release the ultimate weapons, the very fabric of existence started to tremble. The skies darkened, the earth quaked, the oceans roared, the devas, the gods, divine beings and sages watched, terrified from the heavens. Time itself seemed to pause, for the cosmos would not be able to bear the release of such destructive power. The terrible moment had arrived. This was no longer a mere battle, but a potential cataclysm. The universe was on the brink of disaster. And just as the Sudarshan Chakra and the Pashupatastra were about to collide, suddenly the battlefield was engulfed in blinding light. And from the heavens, Lord Shiva appeared in his most radiant and terrifying form. His body smeared in holy ash, the crescent moon glowing on his forehead, his third eye radiating cosmic fire, the serpent Vasuki coiled around his neck, and he holding his mighty Trishul, the trident, which is pulsating with divine energy. The entire battlefield fell silent. Even the greatest warriors of the Yadava and Pandava armies dropped their weapons in awe. As Lord Shiva descended from the skies, his presence alone nullified the energy of the two divine weapons, preventing them from colliding and being released. In that moment, the unstoppable force of Lord Krishna, the amazing and unyielding determination of Arjuna, met the immovable wisdom of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, the supreme mediator of cosmic balance, raised his hand in a gesture of peace and spoke in his deep resonating voice. To Krishna he said, "O Madhava, the upholder of dharma, your commitment to truth is unwavering. You have taken an oath to protect the honor of a sage, and your word must not be taken lightly. But consider this, have you not always taught that true dharma is to protect those who seek refuge? Is not devotion higher than any vow?" Lord Krishna remained silent, a divine smile playing on his face. He knew that this entire event had been a test of his own teachings. Then Lord Shiva turned to Arjuna and said, "O Parth, my dearest disciple, you have shown the highest form of Kshatriya duty. But is duty not also about wisdom? Your friend, your guide, your very own Krishna stands before you. Will you strike down the one who has been your protector in countless lifetimes?" Arjuna, still gripping his bow, the great Gandiva, lowered his gaze. He was ready to fight, but he knew that Lord Shiva was speaking the truth. And then to both of them, Lord Shiva said, "My beloved warriors, heed my words. This battle was never meant to be won or lost. It was a test of devotion, a test of dharma, a test of understanding. Both of you have proven your loyalty, and yet the world does not need this destruction now. Instead, it needs preservation. Let this battle end and let dharma prevail in the way that it was meant to." Hearing Lord Shiva's words, Arjuna immediately withdrew the Pashupatastra, as he could not go against the very God who had blessed him with that weapon. Krishna, carefully and smiling knowingly, lowered his hand, and the incredibly destructive Sudarshan Chakra slowly vanished from sight. The crazy cosmic energy that had built up around the battlefield slowly dissipated and balance was restored. All the warriors who were assembled in this great battle breathed a sigh of relief. They realized that they had witnessed a moment that could have completely changed the course of history forever. With the battle halted, Lord Krishna turned to Chitrasena. He did not punish him. Instead, he spoke with divine grace. He said to Chitrasena, "Your life was saved not by your power, but by devotion, by Subhadra's promise, by Arjuna's commitment. Let this be a lesson to all that true protection comes not from strength, but from faith. What a thought. True protection comes from faith. So Lord Krishna forgave Chitrasena, but nevertheless he warned him to never insult sages or saints again. Never do something like what he had done. And meanwhile, sage Galav, who wanted justice and was very angry, felt betrayed that Krishna had broken his vow to kill Chitrasena, and in his rage he lifted a handful of sacred water, ready to curse Krishna, Arjuna and Subhadra. The water started to fall, but before the water could touch the ground, Subhadra stepped forward and she proclaimed, "If my devotion to Krishna is pure and if my loyalty to Arjuna is unshaken, then let this curse be rendered powerless." And at that moment, the sacred water vanished mid-air without touching the ground. Sage Galav realized that it was his pride that had blinded him, and he immediately fell at Krishna's feet, acknowledging his mistake. Lord Krishna blessed him and said, "True wisdom is knowing when to let go of anger. Go in peace, for your honor is restored." And thus peace was restored. Krishna embraced Arjuna, reaffirming the eternal bond. Chitrasena, now free, pledged to live a righteous life, and he was forever grateful for Krishna's mercy. He returned to his celestial duties, grateful that he got a second chance. And Narada, after witnessing the whole divine play that had just unfolded, smiled with joy. He was joyous, and he knew that yet another divine lesson had been delivered. The armies disbanded and the warriors returned home, and they carried with them the memory forever of the day when Krishna and Arjuna faced each other on opposite sides. As for Lord Shiva, his role was complete. With a knowing smile, he vanished into the cosmic realms, once again proving that whenever destruction and chaos threaten to spiral out of control, he will always descend to restore balance. And thus ended one of the most fascinating clashes in Hindu mythology. And this is a tale, this is a retelling that highlights the balance of dharma, devotion and divine play. This story is rooted in mythology, but it carries powerful lessons that apply to our lives today. In today's world, keeping one's word is rare. This story teaches us that a promise once made should be honored, whether it's Krishna's vow to the sage, Arjuna's promise to Subhadra, or Subhadra's assurance to Chitrasena. For us, you and me, it means that we should be careful with the commitments we make, and we should always honor them, as trust is built on integrity. And also, the ultimate weapon is not power, it is wisdom. There were divine weapons of incredible destruction that were being used, but it was not brute strength, but Lord Shiva's wisdom that ended the battle. For us, it means that force and power alone don't solve problems. Wisdom, diplomacy, and understanding are the greatest tools in leadership and resolving any conflict. Another amazing thing to notice is that Lord Krishna, though he is the Supreme Lord, he was willing to let go of his oath in favor of love, devotion, and wisdom. That means for us, we should not be inflexible. Being inflexible doesn't make you strong. Growth and evolution comes from adapting and understanding. Even the most powerful leaders must be willing to reconsider their decisions. Great point. So this story isn't just about promises of war, it's about understanding what truly matters in each situation. Justice, compassion, wisdom, and adaptability must work together to achieve the best and the right outcome. Please do like, share, and subscribe to Mythical Lights, because that is what drives us to bring you great retellings from mythologies around the world. Until next time.